How you handle your lawn care impacts our water and air. In 1 hour, a gas-powered mower produces the same amount of pollution as a car driven 100 miles. Gas-powered lawn equipment harms our air. And yard waste down storm drains causes flooding and water pollution. Using too much fertilizer releases harmful chemicals into our air and runs off lawns, eventually reaching our rivers and streams. Healthy lawn care habits protect your family, our community, and the environment. Healthy yards for healthy communities.
It is 6 o'clock, maybe 6:01. Don't check me on that. We're going to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bailey.
Here.
Councilmember McGrone.
Here.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Here.
Councilmember Clark is not here. Councilmember Salinas is not here. Councilmember Click.
Here.
And Councilmember Saper.
Here.
Next, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Bailey.
What did I do on that?
All right, we got the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Item 5, comments from the public. If you're a member of the public wishing to speak, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments to 5 minutes. Thank you. Or you will hear that sound right there.
Wow.
All right, Zach, you're done. Good evening.
There we go. Okay, well, good evening, Mayor and City Council. Shouldn't need the 5 minutes here, just wanted to come and speak about the item for public transit that's on discussion for tonight. A couple of things that I wanted to bring to your attention in working with the hospital, trying to get some numbers of the ridership and what they use. Looks like, as our estimate and people that have responded, is 164 employees, either full or part-time, use the KCATA 238 bus. 131 of those live outside of North Kansas City, mostly in Kansas City, either Kansas City north or south of the river. There's a few from Riverside, or not Riverside, but like Gladstone, that get a ride to a bus stop to catch the 238 or 201 and then transfer over. But those are our numbers as far as the hospital employees that utilize the 238. The other, people who obviously drive or other modes of transportation. Our city has a lot of one-car households, and we were trying to be multimodal, which is put into the master plan as far as being multimodal, and this helps us do that. With the KCATA, at least the fixed routes is kind of what we're focusing on, having that, regional connectivity. The Clay County Health Department recently did a community health study, and 23% of their respondents said that transportation is a barrier to public transit. Also, as far as some numbers, here in your last survey with ETC last year, it said that between 10 to 12% of city residents use the KCATA. So if you think you have about 5,000 people, 500 plus, what the hospital people are using, should hopefully maybe give you a little bit better numbers as far as in your community what's being used. So I'm here to advocate, at least for the fixed routes. If you do go with guests on the demand, just make sure that you have a good contract with, what do they call that? The word just left me, but the service quality controls written into the contract. So thanks for your time. Did it in half the time needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comments? Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Rich Galloway, and I'm with Burlington Northtown Community Credit Union at 1002 Swift Avenue. I'm here with, representing the North Kansas City Business Council as one of the board members, as well as, I am the president of Burlington Northtown Community Credit Union. I've been there since 2016, and just to give you all a little history on Burlington Northtown Community Credit Union, our roots are really deep in North Kansas City. We go back almost as long as North Kansas City. Like I say, we're a little sleepy credit union down there on the corner, but as our name implies, we go back to the roots of North Kansas City with the bridge coming across, which developed North Kansas City. Like I say, we were formed in 1928. We currently have 1,400 members, 15 million in deposits. We are one of the strongest credit unions in Missouri, as well as one of the oldest credit unions in Missouri. We have a capital of 20% compared to what NCUA says 7% is a safe credit union. We established in 1928. We were just members of, it was the employees of railroad community, or railroad, Burlington North. All the credit, or the railroads merged together, so it's for me to separate them. Burlington Northern, credit union, or the members of that railway, they pooled their money, like most credit unions, pooled their money when we formed. So we were just a credit union around those employees. In 1997, we expanded out to the community of North Kansas City. So now, at that point, if you lived or worked in North Kansas City, you could be a member of our credit union. In 2017, we expanded into Clay County. So now, if you live or work in Clay County, you can be a member of our credit union there. I don't know if a lot of you know the differences between credit unions versus banks. We are member-owned. We do not, like say, all of our profits and stuff go back to the members, and whether that's in reduced fees, better interest rates, or dividends. Like you hear a lot of, if there's excess profits in the year, we give that money back to our members. So, we really are people serving people with the credit union. So that's, as like I say, there's a credit union. I came from a small town, and that's what attracted me to North Kansas City was the community banking. Banks continue to get bigger, which everything is. So I came to North Kansas City and had the opportunity to work with the credit union. I said, well, I came from the banking side. I crossed the line into the credit union side. So, and that was my opportunity of being into the large bank to get back to a community bank, what I felt was a community bank where we make all our decisions at our location. We are a single location credit union. We make all our decisions there, and it's between me and my lender. The things are taken care of. We're a full-service, consumer-based credit union. We do not do commercial business, as I was telling Tom. Unfortunately, he brought up to me about the elevator and that the getting ready to open things going on there. We are strictly consumer-based, so whether it's your home loans and car loans, that type of thing is what we do. With me in North Kansas City was the first place I lived when I moved out of my rural area, and I said, I got to find a place that has community, or what's my community and that type of thing. So I've been a part of North Kansas City since 1995 and really appreciate being a part of the Business Council. Its connection it's given me to being a small, part of a small business. I think the Business Council really helps in, if you're not a part of a large business, to give you connections throughout the city. So anyway, I appreciate your all's time, and like I say, it was really just a little bit to let you know a little more about the business at 10th and Swift. All right, thank you all.
Thank you so much, and appreciate your deep roots and your commitment to the community. As a former FDIC bank examiner, 20% capital is music to my ears. Yeah, and then the benefits of community-based credit unions are hard to fully say out loud because it's such a great thing to have here. So appreciate that.
Thank you, Jesse.
Absolutely. Further public comments. Good evening.
Good evening. Some of you all might be wondering, what's with the vest? And if highly reflective neon is suddenly in style. And to that, I would say, yes, it is, because it is walk audit season. So if you all are willing and would like to join us. Oh,
You came in good, though, yeah.
no, I appreciate that. For the record, my name is Dylan Kane. I live at 715 Armour Road. So we will be doing a walk audit of North Kansas City's 4th Ward on Sunday, November 9th. And by we, I mean the North Kansas City Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. It's our ad hoc group dedicated to efforts like this. So we'll be conducting a lot more walk audits. For those that don't know, a walk audit is an assessment of the pedestrian environment. So that includes things like crosswalks, sidewalk conditions, observing traffic behaviors near intersections. Ward 4 is a special interest to the BPAC, especially for east-west connectivity. It's an existing challenge, in part because, North Kansas City is bifurcated by interstates. So it remains a challenge. And of course, River Forest Park is set to open next spring. We have some Fourth Ward members of our BPAC, and we just want to, kick off and have an event dedicated to Ward 4. So that'll be coming up soon. If folks want to learn more, I encourage folks to register using our Eventbrite link. It's located on our social media pages. So for folks that are on Instagram, it's at NKCBPAC. We're also on Facebook as well under our name. I also want to use some remaining time just to support fixed route public transit. I know there's been a lot of ongoing discussions about fixed route transit, and it sounds like it's moving in a much more positive direction, which I'm appreciative of. Obviously, being an enclave city so close to downtown Kansas City, having that connection to the rest of the metro is something that's really important. And I'm glad that there's ongoing discussions and some of those costs could be going down for us if we chose to renew that contract with KCATA. I also want to at least mention that the Kansas City Regional Transit Alliance recently released a report last month indicating Clay County's overall support for fixed route public transit. That poll was conducted through a hypothetical question posed to Clay County voters as well as voters from 3 other counties in the metro. Would you support a half-cent sales tax increase for bus routes? And 54% in Clay County were in support. So I just want to bring that information to you all and again encourage folks to come out to our walk audit Sunday, November 9th. There will be plenty more if you can't make it, but we encourage you all to attend. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, and thank you for the work that the Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee is doing. Also, you dropped the word bifurcated on a public comment. Like, well done. You don't get a lot of that these days. Further public comments. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much. My name is Patricia Hernandez, 1100 Northeast Vivian. I work for Metro Lutheran Ministry, and I just wanted to come here and thank you all for having on your docket today the hearing to have funding go to Northland Assistance Council for the hotel. I would like to advocate for collaboration in that entity. Metro Lutheran Ministry has been around for 54 years, and we just want to be a collaboration. So within North Kansas City, they are a part of what's called the COC for Balance of State. So that includes, unfortunately, 116 counties within Missouri. Yeah, I know. But as Metro Lutheran Ministry, we are a part of 3 COCs. So the Northland, the one across the south, and then Johnson County, Kansas. So I would just like to advocate that NAC participate in what's called coordinated entry. So it is essentially a pool of individuals that get prioritized for housing. And so the resources are already there, and we just want to connect those folks to those resources. I would just like to also advocate for any barriers that we could extinguish. It's very difficult when you're newly on the street and you don't have access to get your ID or social security card. I have worked with folks that have just lost everything, and they don't know where to start. And just having a place to stay where it's warm and being able to get steps from there is very, very helpful. And then lastly, I don't think the NAC participates in what's called the point-in-time count. So we physically go out and count all of the folks that are experiencing homelessness. I have physically done this numerous times where we go out to camps, count the folks. This ensures that we get the appropriate funding from HUD. If we are counting all of the people, we are getting the funding for all of the people that need the assistance. If we're not counting those people, we're not getting the appropriate funding to be able to give resources to those folks. Again, thank you so much, and I appreciate you all so much.
Let me ask you a quick follow-up on that
Absolutely.
point-in-time count.
Yes.
You said HUD funds based on the point-in-time. Who does that money go to?
So right now, it's distributed through the COCs.
Okay.
So from there, they have like a grant process, and then those agencies are able to get funds from there.
Okay. Thank you.
And anecdotally, I would like to also say that my uncle, Harry Baker, was the original announcer for the Snake Saturday Parade. And I am named after his wife, and so I have very deep roots here in North Kansas City, and I just appreciate you all so much.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comments? Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I had not intended to have a public comment, but I am the Executive Director of Northland Assistance Center. Really appreciate your advocacy, and we'll be happy to work as we can with a staff of 1.5 to work with some of these other entities that you're talking about. Problem is that we don't have the same amount of staff that Metropolitan Lutheran and Salvation Army do. We would be happy to work with any of these organizations as it allows us to still do what we do with 1.5 people at our agency. Point in time is a wonderful thing. Grant writing is a wonderful thing. Grant writing is not as easy as one would think, particularly if you're a very small agency and do not have a lot of the entities that other larger agencies have. I'm always advocating for finding other grant opportunities and have, as you well know, particularly when it comes to the homeless with North Kansas City Hospital and a grant we got that I'm extending some of those funds to take care of other people who are in need. So I will be working closely with these individuals. I'm aware of the point in time and other items that she has brought up. We just haven't had the staff to work with it, but I'll do the best that we can. But I really appreciate your advocacy to work with us with the homeless. And Turning Point, I might add, will provide all of the IDs and things like that. There is an entity in the Northland, which I've mentioned before, that we've sent all of our homeless to that haven't had IDs or other kinds of things they need. They have social workers there, and they're able to help them. So there is an entity here that these individuals who choose to participate can get the IDs and things if they choose to move forward. So thank you. And I hadn't decided to talk until just now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Further public comments? Good evening.
Hi, Bess Bailey, 510 East 30th. Just updates from SEAC. This looks far more intense. This is just my teacher clipboard. Don't worry about it. Just want to give you guys some updates from our last SEAC meeting as well as a work session we had this past weekend. We are doing a lot of things, and we're starting with our strategic plan, which we are updating, and working together to come up with a very clear, starting from big brain to small action steps that are something we can track and report on and update you all with, so you know that the work we're doing is trackable, it is getting accomplished, and it is working for the best Kansas City we can possibly build together. In that, we had just about all of us there. We had a couple people out for various reasons. Saturdays at noon are very difficult. And being on time at Saturday at noon, very difficult. But I thought it was really successful. We had our friends from the Clay County Health Department there to help us really organize our thoughts and come up with just the basis of where we're going to in our next session, which will be, I think, November 2nd. Membership is something I really want to bring to your attention. Over the last month, 2 months, we've had 3 people resign. Hi, sis. I'll fix, okay. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. We are missing a person in Ward 3, Ward 1, and our at-large appointment. We do have steps in place to make sure that we can still function on a smaller basis. However, we really need as many seats filled as possible. So as you're at events, talking with your constituents, please ask if anyone is interested in working with the SEAC. We are so excited to welcome new people, and we would love to talk with anyone, have really convincing conversations with anyone, but really fill out our membership, because the more people we have, the more we can get done, or the more people that just want to work with us, even outside of our committee, we would love to have. And then the biggest thing we're still working on is our work towards food and supply drives for our houseless population, as well as creating like emergency supply bags that we hope to stash kind of all over town, so that when people are in need, we're able to better support them at just various locations individuals might go to. And I think that is all I have for you guys. Oh, next meeting is the second Thursday of November. And based on my really bad mental math and the fact that my daughter has taken over the phone, I believe that is the 13th. I could be very wrong on that. So if someone has a better track record than I do, 13th.
Nice.
We would love to see anyone watching, anyone up there, and anyone in our audience tonight at the meeting, because we like to have fun and we like to talk about important things going on in Kansas City. Thank you.
Question for you real quick. Is the Ward 1 seat vacant as of now, or is that year end?
That is, I believe, Ryan's seat. It will be, he is not renewing his term, so that'll be December 31st.
Okay.
So we got some time on that one. But Ward 3 is vacant immediate.
Yep.
And the at-large seat is vacant immediate, but that can come from any ward. So if you know of anyone who would like to jump into that position, please let Mayor Smith know.
Yep.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Further public comments? Seeing none, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
Can I pull? I had a question, just a quick question about the police cars.
Okay, so pulling, yeah, go ahead and pull item 10. Okay.
And then wanted to pull item 13.
10 and 13. Okay, any further items? All right, do we have a motion on the amended consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes. We're going to move on to item 10, Councilmember Click.
I was just curious, just catch everybody up. The item was to purchase 3 new police vehicles, which I'm, of course, in full support of. I just was curious what happens to the other 3, like the 2023 vehicles. If we're buying 3 new ones, like just what happens to them? Do we sell them?
Yes, they go through the city auction process.
Gotcha.
Most of the time, depending on the wear and tear on the vehicle, we try to rotate them backwards into our fleet. So a frontline fleet will move to a secondary role, like as an administrative car, an investigator car. Sometimes even another city department might pick one of them up. If none of those needs exist, then they go through the city auction process.
Gotcha. Okay, great. And are the new ones going to be hybrid too? Because it seemed like that was part of maybe the issue, is the potential for the batteries needing replaced.
Yeah, we have chosen to not recommend hybrids again because of some of the maintenance costs that we've seen on the 3 that we're operating right now.
Councilmember Clark.
I guess that's what I was trying to wrap my mind around too is, I don't know. I just pulled some quick data from hybridcardnews.org, and it was just saying like the value of retaining hybrid vehicles over buying new gas vehicles. When we look at like the cost of, we all know our overall goal is to pull things away from relying on the gaming fund. And I think as far as plotting and planning down the road, if we're looking at a battery price, potential battery price replacement of $15,000 against a whole car purchase of $45,000, we'll say, we're looking at 3 cars being battery replaced for the price of 1 vehicle. So I guess I just kind of think like, are we weighing this out enough? We're looking at potentially almost $132,000 against an almost maybe $45,000. So that's the part that I'm kind of just grappling with of our goal to try to go hybrid and try to really give it a substantial subset of trial. I guess I'm just, wanting us to weigh that out. I just had questions around that.
So after you sent the email with the question, I followed up with Chief Freeman to ask about that. And if you wanted to share what you told me or give an update on what we know.
Well, and I appreciate your research. What I would caution is we're not talking about police cars here. We're talking about civilian model cars, hybrid versus gas, and certainly understand there's a big difference. And there's a difference since we've started the hybrid platform. We have a 2020 model that we still have in the fleet, but it's never been in frontline police service, and it's never had the full load of equipment that the frontline cars do. And to answer your question is like we rotate our cars out of frontline service. We try to rotate our cars out of frontline service every 2 years, 60,000 miles-ish. And that's where we're at on these 3 cars right now. So they're going to be moving out of service anyway. Now, back to Councilmember Click's comment, like, what are we doing with them afterwards? Like, depending on the need, we'll put them into a different role with the city. I certainly understand your comments, but again, you're talking gaming money, general fund money, and our vehicle maintenance comes out of general fund money, and we don't have $45,000 that we budget year to year just for all of our maintenance, let alone potentially replacing 3 battery platforms if we had to. So I don't know if I'm answering the question that's posed. I don't honestly, I didn't know what the question was. I'm just trying to tell you where we're at. Like we've seen higher levels of repairs also on the hybrid platforms on the frontline cars. We have one of them is in 2 years have had $6,000 worth of repairs, non-battery related. And that includes one of those getting the battery replaced already under warranty. So if we would have had to bear that cost, it would have been that $15,000 range. Another one's $3,000, another one's $4,500. So we're right in that average $4,500 range for overall maintenance. The cars are heavier. You know, just the hybrid platform itself is 300 pounds heavier than the regular car. And then we're tagging all of our equipment onto there, making it even heavier. It's more wear and tear on brakes. It's more wear and tear on transmissions. We're seeing some of that in our overall maintenance costs. One of the gas cars that we just put into service last year, again, it's a year newer car, so probably going to have less problems, you would think, but we're sitting at $1,000 in repairs on that car right now. Am I answering your question?
No, I appreciate all this. Obviously, yeah. I'm like, let me do my part over here.
Yeah.
You're going to have the real world knowledge of what's happening for you guys. I think just because that's generally the case, a gas-powered car is going to cost less in the first year, but years following is where they're looking at the subsequent sort of like gap in this becomes a better investment because you're spending less on gas versus the hybrid. So I think I would want to compare then maybe one of our older gas vehicles and what the maintenance costs were for those. And then the other thing you pointed out was that's kind of just a moment of concern is if there's never really been anything in your general fund budget for car replacement, and if we're only relying on the gaming fund for all of that, for maintenance on vehicles and replacement of vehicles, then I guess that's where I'm a little concerned because that's going to run out soon enough. So I think we're trying to plot and plan down the road.
I might have misspoke on that. Our maintenance comes out of general fund. It's the replacement fleet plan that comes out of the gaming fund. And I know where you're coming from. I see the numbers, I see the trajectory, I see the charts, I see everything you see. But yeah, that since I've been here, we've purchased cars out of the gaming fund. Now, if that gaming fund went away and we didn't have that funding source any longer, we would still need to replace our fleet. We still have to be able to get to the calls. We would just have to figure out what are we sacrificing to make sure that we have those cars. We're not going to not buy cars.
I think when we talked, you mentioned that some of the maintenance items on the equipment were battery related, like something to do with the battery causing the equipment to malfunction. Is that
at least 2? I mean, we had one full battery failure.
Right.
Then we had another instance where a car sat up at Midway Ford for almost 3 weeks while they're trying to diagnose what the problem was, and come to find out it was something battery related. I don't have all the details on it. I just know it was battery related. It wasn't a full failure of the hybrid system, but it was something in the hybrid system that was causing other problems in the combustion system. So that's not the certified ASE mechanic here talking at all. So
yeah.
Yeah, but you would say like the $6,000 cost, that was out of pocket for you guys, or it was covered by the warranty?
No, that's out of pocket.
Okay.
Yeah. The full battery failure, it was still under warranty when that happened, so we were fortunate. We didn't have to pay for that. But the other costs are, brakes, tires, oil changes. That's all encompassing of all of our vehicle maintenance costs.
And you said comparatively, though, you don't pay that on a gas vehicle. You don't have to change the tires, oil as often.
Yeah, you would. I mean, because when you're talking a hybrid platform, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but for those that are watching, you basically have now 2 platforms you're maintaining. When you have a combustion engine, you're maintaining a combustion engine, and you have all the maintenance costs that go with that. When you have a hybrid platform, you have all the same problems with a combustion engine combined with all the same problems that you're having with a hybrid platform, potentially.
We're also, because we've been doing like a good faith effort to test run hybrids and electric vehicles as part of the fleet, and even I believe Anthony was saying some of the stuff with the cold weather can be really a drag on some of the battery and operations of some of these EVs. And while I desperately want to get us in the direction of being more or less reliant on fossil fuels, more into the battery systems, some of the stuff that the police work, especially with these cars, like they have to be in service, like they have to be ready to go. And I did the same math you did when I looked at that. I was like, oh man, 3 batteries equals 1 car, but it's not necessarily an apples to apples comparison. Councilmember Groen.
And I just want to say, I was doing some quick research on my own here, and it was, I found out that you said you used the Ford Interceptors. Those are the lowest rated police interceptor vehicles, the hybrid ones, out of all of them. So, I mean, it makes sense that we're not having very good luck with those particular vehicles. And I would argue that we should replace them since they're not as reliable and they have really expensive repair costs.
I would just counterpoint to you, like, they're the only one.
Yeah.
Like, nobody, Chevrolet hasn't entered the hybrid market for police vehicles. Dodge hasn't done it. Nobody's done it. Ford's the only one that has done it.
I think out of all of even just police interceptor vehicles at all, they're the lowest rated.
Right.
So just because, and I don't know if it's because people have a problem with the hybrid and just in general, but if there's 25 other models that are better, we should probably pick one of those.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yeah, just to refer, I don't remember honestly, but don't these cars run pretty much 24/7? I mean, don't you keep them running constantly?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, we're looking at, like we said, 60,000 miles is our goal to get them out of frontline service. But that's not anything close to the hours that are put on those engines of the idle time. And the hybrid does help with that a little bit, but we've also seen, I don't have the numbers in front of me or even had a chance to research them, but we're not seeing that great a return on investment with miles per gallon on the hybrids either. Even Ford advertises that it advertises the hybrid at less miles per gallon than it advertises at the EcoBoost combustion engine.
Because I was also thinking, even if they're out like on an accident or something, that car's still running constantly.
Correct.
Yeah, or a car stopped, the car's still going, so
Yes.
it's still running, yeah.
Further questions for Chief Freeman? I love putting him on the spot. Anybody else? Seeing none, do we have a motion on this item?
I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Item 13, and we will go back to Councilmember Click.
I went back and forth with this one a lot because, Rita, I respect what you do so much, and I'm so appreciative of the work that you do. I just, without actual numbers of how many people this will impact, I don't think I can, in good faith, implement these really strict requirements, especially because people will potentially find out about these requirements the day that they need a place to be. And I think that your intention with helping them get their driver's license and their social security card, that's wonderful, and that's ideal. But I would just hate for someone to find out that day and be stuck out in the cold that night is my hesitation.
Give me a second. There you go.
Last year, we ended up spending $60,000 of the city's money because we had no restrictions. I started restricting it more. The MOU just had a temperature and check other places. I'm trying to be responsible for money that comes from the city. We cannot house every single person who comes to my door. At one time, there were 40 people at my door with no restrictions, and I had no restrictions under the MOU. And so there was nothing I could do but put them all in hotels because there was nothing to restrict them. We serve, as an agency, the Northland community. We do not serve Jackson County and all the other communities. As an agency, our mission is to serve the Northland community. And we need to figure out, and have figured out, a way that we can find out who the chronically homeless are that are going to agencies. Yes, there's going to become people who come to our door. That's what happened last year, when the MOU had no restrictions whatsoever except for temperature and checking other locations, which they were always full. And the minute that word came out, we spent all the city's money. And then the city said, quit spending so much money. So I tried to come up with ways that we could still respond to our service base and not the entire greater community of the metropolitan area. And I understand that. I would love to house everybody who walked through the door. That would be terrific, but it's not possible. It's impossible because everybody will be at our door, and I don't think the city wants to pay for everybody like they did last year. that came to our door. And I don't think we turned anyone away that came to our door, but we spent a whole bunch of the city's money. And we were serving people that sometimes we found out later, they were just like, well, I'd rather spend a night in a hotel than here. And there's no way to know that. So you can't help everyone who comes to the door. We will give food to everyone who comes to our door, and we do, and we did. But I think it would be irresponsible as an agency to take the city's money and spend it on everybody who comes to the door. And that's why, because of discussions we had last year, because we spent such a great deal of money, I thought it was important to make sure we're serving the Northland area. Particularly, my agency serves Clay and Platte County. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't even, I mean, I wasn't here last year, so I'm curious to hear other people's thoughts too, of course, but I just wonder if maybe we can like meet in the middle somewhere and put maybe some restriction and just not go so extreme. This feels like going from 0 to like 100.
Well, as I said last time I was here, I have a $5,000 piece of my grant that I'm using at my own discretion. And if someone came to our door, and they will, and I said, okay, this person's got 2 kids and they need a place to stay and they have picture IDs, I will put them in a hotel. I do not want to make that common knowledge because then everybody will want to do it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Councilmember Click, we do have a backup plan for emergent situations because we're a very small agency, we have a very small budget, but I have put $5,000 out of a grant we had to answer those specific needs. And from North Kansas City Hospital, as I explained before, if they have to release someone and they have no place to go, they're also giving me money for that. We just can't take care of everybody. I would love to. I say every time that this issue comes up, somebody needs to put a shelter in the Northland. We are not a shelter. We're just doing the best we can, and I think taking people off the streets is really a good thing. And we do have to have some restrictions.
Sure.
But we have a backup plan, to answer your other question.
That's
if people come to my door and they say, and they have ID, and it's going to be discretionary, it has to be discretionary, and I think that their plea is such that I can put them in a hotel for a night or 2, we will do that with that $5,000. So I have a backup plan to the restrictions. The restrictions are to take care of the monies that the city is giving us, and also to meet the needs of our mission statement, which is to serve Clay and Platte County. We had a lot of Jackson County people and Wyandotte people in hotels last year. And Jackson County's got a lot of money to put people. They got over $1 million just last year of COVID money they hadn't spent that they're doing in restart and whatnot. They need to be responsible in that regard. We just became kind of a warehouse for these individuals because the word gets out very, very quickly. And we did house them.
So when I was doing research for one of the other items on here, the snow removal piece, I went back through all the meetings from last winter because I just happened to pick the wrong one and started going backwards. But I went to the discussion we had on this, and having sat here year after year after year, last year was possibly the worst we had, where Councilmember Groen and I were sitting here just saying, like, I think it was the second or third time you'd come back to us, and at a certain point, like, we have to restrict it, and because it was feeling bottomless at that point. I think we spent the entire $30,000 in November of last year. Like, it was very fast.
I came back 3 times.
Yeah.
And I came back in December, and it was a horrid,
well, the first pass,
time.
because it was a really oddly cold early part of the winter.
It was.
And then, like, I remember when I saw it come back on the agenda, I was like, oh my gosh, how are we already out of money? And that was when you and I sat down and talked through the restrictions you had put on it. And while, yes, they do feel heavy right now, this is a test of what's this going to look like. And I think a lot of this is common sense and will help the people, but I understand where your heart's at on that, where like somebody comes up, it's freezing cold outside and they don't have the documents they need. What do we do? And in that scenario last year, like, we spent $30,000 in a month, and that's not what we can't feasibly do that over and over again, as much as it would be good to people. So finding the right guardrails is going to be a thing we have to try out. And so, like, that's why I think this is a good proposal from you. But it never feels good to put restrictions on people who just want to be warm.
Doesn't feel good to turn people away either, but you have to be fiscally responsible. And as I said, I already put $5,000 aside from a grant I didn't realize I was going to get so much money for, that I had discretionary funds. I think that will adequately care for some of those individuals, because I can tell you if they come in with Wyandotte or Jackson County IDs, I'm going to send them back to Wyandotte or Jackson County. It's not responsible for me to spend the city's money in an area where you guys are giving me money. And there are other, I mean, they're going to be full. They're all going to be full. They were all full last year. Every time we called, everything was full. I called every single time, every morning, everything was full. There's not enough place to put all these people, and we are too small of a repository to make that be the place to happen.
Do we have any further questions, comments, or thoughts?
Yeah, I'll just
Councilmember
continue
Clark?
to say that, I mean, I watched two guys that were like, they just looked like they were hiking through town, like maybe through hikers. Like they were just like, hey, it's like word on the street was that there's some housing opportunity. And I think it's just making sure, because each time we come in contact with someone, which Rita's the one that's coming in contact with most of these individuals, there's still messaging that can go through to say, here are some resources, because we want to hope to change their trajectory in their path, and saying like, have you looked into temporary housing? I mean, there's all sorts of, you know, Hillcrest transitional housing. I think that's even over in Avondale, or there's a group over in Avondale that does that. And just different, and I also want to look at even for next year, like looking at like a community service voucher option maybe, where there's like, we could look at vouchers that maybe can be used in the wintertime if there's some sort of community service for like trash pickup and things like that around the city. I don't know, something that we can explore where there's something that they're woven into our community, there are community members, they just happen to not own a house and have a place to stay. So I'm into the restriction even though it doesn't feel good, but I think this will help us to stretch the monies to people that really, really need it and are here and asking for it.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yeah, this is kind of off the subject, not really though, but I know one of the last meetings you had mentioned if they go to the American Inn and say for whatever reason they get kicked out, then you'll place them in Riverside.
No,
No.
not the homeless population.
No?
The only, what I said is that when we had the contract with North Kansas City Hospital, they had sent a couple of individuals who were inappropriate to there, and they destroyed the rooms. So they refused to take any more North Kansas City Hospital people. I wanted to keep that avenue open, and within 24 hours, I found them another place. I'm not sending our homeless population there. This is a population that will go to the American Inn. We're talking three entities here. I have North Kansas City Hospital, I have $5,000 I can use discretionary, and I'm talking about the homeless with North Kansas City. So I know it's easy to cloud the three, but we need to keep them separate from from what we're considering here tonight.
Councilmember Bailey.
I'd like to propose tabling this item for this meeting till next, see if we can, for any of us who'd like to dig deeper into it, see if we can come up with a possible proposal that would help alleviate some of the concerns from multiple people.
That is a motion to table. Sure.
This is all helpful information. I think personally, I don't know if we want to get into it anymore. I'm okay with moving forward as long as we are all in agreement that this is like to figure out what works. Because I appreciate your like thoughtfulness and wanting to be conscious of the money that's being spent. So as long as that's where everybody's at, and this is kind of like a test, a trial run, then I'm okay to move forward.
Constant iteration on this. Do we have anyone who wants to second the motion to table? Hearing none, do we have a motion on item 13?
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you. And I would invite you all when it gets cold, as I've invited you many, many times, to come to my agency and see what it's like when all the homeless come and what we do beyond just the monies, like feed them and clothe them and whatnot. It's not a one-stop shop. It's not like we just take your money and don't do anything else. So you're all invited to come, and thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Okay, moving to the regular agenda items, item 14.
Purchase of Max 169 event LED screen.
Who's got this one? Kim.
Good evening,
Mayor and Council, I would say that myself and Victoria are kind of tag teaming this. So before you tonight is the purchase for the Max 169 mobile LED screen. The Parks Board has already moved to approve the purchase for their half of this particular screen. And in order to be able to get the screen in time for our hopeful street party next year, we have this in front of you this evening.
Excellent. When I first heard about this screen, my immediate reaction was not a chance. But upon further reflection and discussion with Parks Board members, Parks Director, seeing the screen in person in broad daylight and understanding the back end of potential for rental to other communities who have already expressed interest, there's a very good chance this gets paid back virtually in full through rentals to other communities. And it will be an excellent amenity for our park, for movies in the park, so that we can start those while it's still sunny out, and we can have a much higher resolution, a better experience. It's also a mobile screen that packs into a trailer and can be transported around town as needed for various events. Any thoughts or questions from the council? Councilmember McGrone.
I've got two things. First one, do you either of you know what the warranty is on this? I was looking in the documentation that was provided, and it says that the details and cost of the warranty will be outlined in the final invoice, but there's no details about what that warranty is.
Sure. The LED screen is an 11-year warranty, and then the trailer that it's on, the mobile trailer, is a 5-year warranty.
Okay, excellent. And then as far as like renting it out to other communities, do you, as the Parks Department, I assume, plans to send a staff person with it?
It would either be like a contractor or staff person,
Somebody trained to use it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, excellent. Thanks.
Councilor Fitzgerald.
While I do recognize there are other uses for this beyond the World Cup party, I'm kind of looking at this as something that probably never would have even been, brought up or discussed or considered without that World Cup party. So thinking of it that way, do we have an estimate for what that watch party is going to cost us? I'm kind of trying to wrap my head around this before going further down this process.
So I have not gotten an update from J.D. Green on what the city's obligation. We will probably bring that forward as part of the one contract for both Snake Saturday and this particular event. That way there's some efficiencies of cost specifically for the insurance. As for what will FIFA charge municipalities for the honor of displaying their game, we have not heard from FIFA. That is one of the outstanding questions that we are waiting from FIFA International, is what is the licensing rights for that? I've heard it's $2,500. I've heard that they're thinking of waiving it. I've heard all of in between, but I have not gotten a definitive answer from that.
So pretty wide open at this point, it sounds like.
I feel for FIFA. It's the first time they've done it in 3 different countries and so many site locations. They're learning on the fly with us. I'm hoping to have those answers soon.
The other question I had on this one, so this is the battery model. I remember when we had it out there, they were running the generator model, which is fairly loud. The battery piece, it's much quieter, and it gets, I think it says 8 to 10 hours of, is that right, screen on time in full brightness?
I believe it's 12 hours, actually. And the battery option is also $1,000 less in cost than the generator.
Oh, and we can just put a generator on there and plug it in, I believe, as
well. We could potentially add one on there. I don't really see a reason why we would.
Right. Just in case, because
Right.
I think he wheeled out like a big cord that you could plug the batteries in and charge them via generator if you so choose. Yeah, it's very loud. But this is, I like that that's the model we're looking at. It's also less expensive than we spec'd. Like we had 20 and after discounts and all that, it's 106, 737. Councilmember Saper.
Councilmember.
All right, Councilmember Bailey.
What is the expectation if we rent it out? What is the likely revenue of that?
We have not figured that quite out yet. I think we have heard that models, I want to say it's 5,000 is what we were told that these models rent out at.
Like between $3,500 and $5,000. It just depends. We haven't really investigated that fully yet.
So just for easy math, if we rent it out 30 times over its lifespan, we would theoretically break even.
Correct, roughly. Councilmember Safer?
My question is, where is this going to be stored?
So this will be stored down at the parks facility.
Okay. And it'll be
Indoors.
And
Indoors.
that's a
Yeah.
secure facility.
Yes.
Please do not leave this outdoors. Battery storage, is it going to be in a place that's insulated or heated and cooled?
So one of our projects is looking at either expanding or building the new parks maintenance building. So yes, it would have the HVAC and the heating, cooling. It is an all-proof weather trailer, so it is all one component. So it's not like the screen comes off the trailer and we're putting it on and off. So it is one piece. So the idea is with the new facilities, we're making a space that is just for this trailer and screen to live.
Right, and the reason I ask about the climate control piece is batteries, yeah, they can operate in all weather, but like storage and charging, you can absolutely ruin a lithium battery at $20,000 charging it under freezing conditions. So anyways, go ahead, Councilmember Gruen.
What's the lead time on getting this item?
So we actually asked them, we wanted to go ahead and get it ordered so that we could lock in at this price. We have asked them to hold off on either building or sending it to us till the spring so we have the chance to get the park maintenance building finalized.
Okay, because I've just been thinking about this since Connor mentioned we don't know if we're getting a World Cup party. We don't know how expensive that's going to be. I don't know that this would have been something that the city would have considered if we didn't have that as an option. And is it possible to hold off on making a decision about purchasing this until we know whether or not we're going to have that event in our community?
Certainly, like if you guys wanted to hold off, of course, Ruth said, it may lower in price, it may go up in price, there are no guarantees there. So
I've yet to see something go down in price for waiting.
Right.
But
well, I guess I think it's a cool idea. We don't have any guarantees that we're going to get any revenue from renting it. I believe you will have to staff a person to go with it, so it's going to have ongoing costs with it, and you're going to have to build a new building in order to house it. So those are all extra costs that are beyond the cost of the screen. And I don't think that we can count on rental revenue to pay it back when we don't really have an idea of whether or not that's feasible. So I'm just a little hesitant about it. I think it's very cool technology. I think it would be really neat to use. I just don't know if the costs of everything add up to a benefit.
Sure. From the park standpoint, like our goal was never to rent it to break even or anything like that. That was just possibly an option. We could recoup some of the funds. The park's maintenance building is ongoing no matter what, and that was just taking into consideration a place to, making sure that we had the appropriate space to hold it. So I guess it would be up to you guys whether you wanted to go in half or not, so.
I would say that I've got a meeting with 2 communities next week. I was waiting for this action before I really kind of finalized any rental discussions with other communities.
Yeah. Councilmember Clark.
Yeah, I think, when weighing it out and being in the Parks Board meetings and hearing community feedback and things like that, a lot of parents are looking forward to the opportunity to doing movies in the park at a time that their kids can attend. Because they're like, bedtime is like when you guys start the movies, so we can't go. We've never been. And I know that's not, right here, it may not feel that important, but I think the community benefit was the bigger piece. And knowing that, say, we're pitching in, to house people to sleep at $30,000, this is like another 20 that lasts for years beyond, if you range that out. And I think all of those things were taken into consideration where, they weren't weighing out like how fast can we rent this and get our money back. And she'd already reiterated this, Victoria did, but they've already had the plans to build. They've been wanting to build something bigger and better for the maintenance, vehicles and all sorts of things, like the mule and stuff like that they have to park away and kind of keep it sheltered. So I think that was already in the works, and they just thought, hey, it could fit in there. That would work. So that I don't think we have to consider, like wrap our minds around all the expenses that they are taking on, that their budget is already sort of aligning. I think it's just our piece of saying, do we feel like we committed the 60 and we're already lower than that, which I feel like has never happened on any item we've ever had brought forward. It took, I don't know, I'd have to go back in the 5 years, but I don't think so. So I don't know, I was definitely leaning more toward, I felt like we were pretty on board, that even beyond even a World Cup viewing, I think we can find plenty of opportunities for community engagement, even beyond movies in the park, but community engagement opportunities and activities where we can utilize the screen. That's just
even
my thought.
for State of the City, like we were at the fire department, we brought it through, and you could barely see the screen. I appreciate the tech. I mean, it's old projectors and stuff. Like, this is such an upgrade from that. And yes, as a parent, my kids have never been to a movie in the park because they start at dark in the summertime, which is 9 o'clock some nights.
The witching hour.
But yes, absolutely no chance that's happening. So as an amenity to parents, and like not just for me, but for everyone that I've talked to about that, it's the please do this kind of thing. So, and if there's opportunity on the back end to rent it out and make a little back, great. But I'd be strongly in favor. Councilmember Click.
Can I just ask one question about the World Cup party? Do you have an estimation of a timeline when you think we'll have that kind of moving? Because I think this is a great thing. I also have a young kid who I think would love to go to movies in the park, but similar to what Councilman Fitzgerald was saying, this is the main reason we're buying it. So I just want to make sure that things are like progressing there before maybe making a final decision here, if that's like one of the main purposes.
We're hoping to be able to bring forward another discussion of what a street party in North Kansas City would look like. Again, some of it is without a screen. You know, there is a chicken egg element to some of the components.
And to put a finer, that's the reason it came to our attention that this screen exists. But I think now that it's in our attention, I would say we buy it whether or not there's a party at all, because of the community benefit and amenities. So I wouldn't fixate too much on does the party happen or not. Also, I think the party's going to happen come hell or high water. Further thoughts or comments? Do we have a motion on item 14?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 15.
Discussion of proposed snow removal ordinance and assistance program.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take this one real quick, and if you've got extra on it, let me know. So I mentioned I went back to our discussion last year on this one, and this sort of revolves around the question on whose responsibility is it to get snow off of the sidewalk after a snowfall event. It passes across residents and businesses. And at this point, our code doesn't address that responsibility. And last time we talked about it, we kicked around, do we put something in that has a definite time frame, like a 48-hour time frame? Some cities do that. Or do we mirror what Kansas City is doing and put what they say is a reasonable time frame? It's not something that really, it messages that we're not trying to enforce this, nor could we likely enforce this? As we talked through it last time, by the time you go through all of the stuff, and we talked about it with grass last time, by the time you've done all the notices and everything, the snow's melted, right? So it's not about being draconian or trying to enforce it. It's more about messaging that it is your responsibility to get the snow off of your frontage in a reasonable time frame. And then that points to the benefit of a Neighbors Helping Neighbors style program, which is now up and moving, and can point people to those who can help with something like this. So council discussion, and the question before us is, do we want to put something on the books that telegraphs to people it's your responsibility to remove the snow? Councilmember Saber.
I have a problem with purposefully enacting rules and regulations and laws that we can't enforce. It doesn't seem to be very productive. In fact, it might be counterproductive.
Sure.
Having a very active public relations campaign to the extent that we can mount one would be much more productive, I think, in the end, as well as much more reasonable.
So let me ask you, what would you think about, how would you write something that would be enforceable? The only way I see it is to put a definite time frame on it, and seeing that cities like Kansas City have something that just says reasonable time frame, says it's being done elsewhere, but would you prefer a 48 or 72-hour timeline on getting the snow moved?
At this point, seeing the problems we've had getting tall grass and weeds cut around town in a timely manner, in which there is some enforcement and penalties.
Yep.
This, again, the snow is gone by the time we've even gotten started on enforcement.
So are you saying we shouldn't put anything on? Is that?
Not on the books, no.
So the other part of the discussion last time was that this is not just a aesthetic issue, it's a safety issue. As snow gets walked on, it can freeze, it can refreeze, become ice, and then there's problems with liability. Whose fault is it if somebody slips on the sidewalk in front if there's nothing in the code that says it's that homeowner's responsibility or that business's responsibility to remove it?
I am with saying it's their responsibility as to deal with the tree lots in front between the sidewalk and the street. But the codes for maintaining that space between the sidewalk and the street, which I call tree lots, is rarely enforced.
I'm not sure I followed what you proposed there.
So I'm saying I'm proposing that we don't enact some kind of rules and regulations that we can't enforce.
Okay.
We could maintain a very active, proactive public relations campaign to inform people that it's a responsibility that they should as residential homeowners or businesses. This doesn't deal with businesses at all, by the way.
Councilmember McGrone.
So I don't really have a dog in this fight because I live in an area where my sidewalks are shoveled. But I will say, I brought this up before in other discussions. We have rules and things in our code that sometimes can't be enforced because reasonable people will adhere to them. And if you say, please remove the city ordinances, remove your snow within a timely manner, even though that's a little vague, it's at least something that the city can lean on if we have a situation like we did last year where it snowed and then the snow stayed out there for a week. And if somebody complains to the city and says, my neighbor, our street, everybody has shoveled their snow except this person, then the city can say, hey, we've asked you to remove it within a reasonable time. Everyone else has done it. Could you, do this? I understand what you're saying, that it's hard to enforce a lot of these things, but I don't think that we should not put things into practice or code because we don't think that they can be enforced. I mean, if that's the case, then I'll make the same argument I did before. We should remove the speed limit signs on Armour Road because people speed all the time and people aren't getting pulled over all the time. So if we can't enforce it all the time, then why are they there? They're there because reasonable people adhere to those requests or those requirements.
Yeah, but they do get pulled over sometimes, and they do get citations sometimes. That's right, and it is enforced to the extent possible. And to the extent possible for a snow removal ordinance, it seems pretty much close to zero.
Councilmember Clark.
Okay. Great points. I think it's because I could hear what you're saying, that if it's not enforceable. But I think if I'm hearing everybody right, the whole reason why we put an ordinance to say a reasonable amount of time, because we don't know what snowfall is going to look like. But when you say that you do agree that people need to know that they're responsible for the sidewalk, so if something happens to somebody because they trip and fall because they didn't clear it and it turned to ice, I believe we want to have a mechanism in place that says, well, we did have a plan that they do have to, we recommend that they clear the snow as a preventable measure, so that they were aware. I mean, whether that gets communicated to people through a public campaign that says, hey guys, be aware. I feel like on my block, most everybody's aware, but there are some people, and I think sometimes with rentals, they're not going to necessarily clear it out, that maybe, whoever owns that property needs to make sure they have something in place that the snow gets removed. I don't know if, Jesse, you have that on your properties. I don't know.
It's in every lease.
Yeah. Oh, that they have to remove the snow.
Yeah, it's part of the lease.
Right. So I think I'm okay with putting something, even if it is just a reasonable amount of time, especially if we know that we want them to be responsible for that clearing of the sidewalk. I do feel bad. I don't have a sidewalk in front of my house, so I don't have to clear anything out, but I do have to clear my driveway. My mailman still has to go up and down my stairs, so it's that piece. I think it's the safety piece and being aware that you've got to just clear the way for your neighbors. Not everybody has a car. Some people are walking to bus stops. I don't mind us putting something in that says clear it in a reasonable amount of time, because we may have a snowfall that's beyond a week or two.
Right now, it is nobody's responsibility.
Right.
And I think we rectify that somehow. Councilmember Alvarez.
I'm just curious if we make the homeowner or the resident responsible for clearing the snow or whatever, say it's still within the time frame that we've given them and something happens, are we actually setting up that homeowner to be responsible if, say, the very next day, somebody comes and walks around on the sidewalk, they fall? Now it's the homeowner's responsibility because we put that ordinance in place? Whether it's within that time frame or not, are you now addressing that every resident is responsible for that sidewalk, and if it hasn't been cleared, however long it is, they're responsible for that person? I'm concerned about that.
I mean, other cities have this. I would assume there's case law for this as well, because somebody in Kansas City, I'm certain, has slipped on somebody else's sidewalk, and this is filtered through the courts. I don't have that answer for how that works out, but if it's something like a reasonable time frame, I don't think within hours of the snow falling is necessarily the reasonable time frame.
Yeah, I think it puts a question on it because it's still a public sidewalk. So I think there's a gray area there that's I'm concerned about, and then that's what concerns me.
Councilmember Safer.
But again, as I mentioned before, this only deals with residential areas.
This would deal with everything. This would be the whole city.
Okay.
Businesses
Including
and residents.
businesses?
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, and we could, I mean, I don't know what the situation is with rules versus businesses or residents or different districts, zoning, but I think my take is we put something in place that clearly defines who's responsible, and we leave it at that, and address issues if this doesn't resolve people getting their sidewalks scooped. Councilmember Clark, Click. Clark,
close.
Click, sorry.
I don't think I have a super strong feeling about 20. I guess I'd lean towards like 48 hours than just reasonable, so there's something specific. This just kind of feels like the logical thing. I didn't know this wasn't an ordinance. I don't think, lived anywhere where this wasn't required. So I think it makes sense.
And we're an outlier in not requiring it, but Anthony brought forth, is it on this? I didn't pull the memo on this because I went back to the previous discussion. You had the whole list of all the various cities and ordinances. The biggest player in the space has reasonable time, but other ones set various time frames. Do you recall, like, is it more popular to have reasonable time, or?
I think Kansas City, like you said, was an outlier for the reasonable time. I think there was one other, I don't have the list in front of me, sorry. But yeah, there was anything from 24, 48, I think even a 72-hour one was in there, depending, I think it was like 13 different cities that we looked at in the metro region.
The most common thing was 48 hours?
I can't say that without looking, but the range was anywhere from 24 to 72 hours.
Okay.
But again, Kansas City saying reasonable time, and looking again here, not defining reasonable time.
Yeah, I don't know that they have done that. This was the second meeting in February of this year, February 18th, 25. Somebody wants to pull the transcript. It was a lengthy discussion, similar to this one tonight. And we talked in circles and got nowhere. So here we are again, right before the snow's set to fall, probably in a few hours at this rate. Who knows? Councilmember Alvarez.
I would be in favor if we could make this, say, business versus residence. I wouldn't want to include the residential neighborhood in it, but if we're talking about a business where it's a high-traffic area, then I would be in favor of it. But I don't think I would be in favor of the residential area.
Just go ahead. Real quick on that, just for reference, the way the Kansas City ordinance reads is it shall be the duty of all persons owning or occupying any real property fronting upon any street, boulevard, highway. So basically, it puts it back on the real property owner.
Yep.
It doesn't
it doesn't go resident versus business, just for context.
Yeah, I would not necessarily favor something that cut the residential neighborhoods out. Like, this is just telling people it's their responsibility to get it done. I'm seeing a few head nods. I'm seeing some scowls. We got to make a decision on this. Do we want to do a poll? What do we think?
I'm in favor of what you're suggesting, which is just put something in there in the most legalese way possible that says property owners need to clear their sidewalks from snow within a reasonable amount of time.
Basically what Anthony just read.
Yes, exactly. But pretty much the Kansas City ordinance. I'm not in favor of cutting out residential streets because, I mean, people got to walk their dogs. They got to get to, they need to exercise. We've got some people with mobility issues. We need to be kind neighbors, and sometimes people need a little bit more reminding of what being a kind neighbor is, and I think this is as gentle as we can do it.
We have beautiful sidewalks. People should get to see them all year around. Further thoughts, comments, or questions? Okay, I'm hearing at least 1, 2, 3.
You want thumbs?
Yeah, okay. Who would support mirroring Kansas City's ordinance? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a majority. There you go. Copy, paste, done. Neighbors Helping Neighbors group, if you're watching, I think many do. Zach is here to parlay that information. Let's get a good spot where people can ask and find help with that if they need it. Excellent. Got what you need? Okay, moving on to item 16.
Discussion regarding public transit.
All right.
He's already, Bryce, we've got Bryce Shields here with KCATA. Okay. I'll let you introduce.
Bryce, do you have a presentation for us, or are we just going to answer questions? What
No
do you think?
presentations, just here to answer any questions you guys may have.
Excellent. Okay, welcome. Who has questions for Bryce at this stage?
Can I also, sorry to interject real
Sure,
fast.
go
I also
ahead.
have Don Bolin here. Don Bolin was me before he was me, and then he moved to Michigan, and now he's back as our Chief Transit Experience Officer.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, what questions do we have for these friends here? I have a few written down, but I want to hear from the group.
Not actually for KCATA, but thinking about the bigger picture with the fixed route, or the flex route and guest and all that. At one point, I think we heard about 10,000 a month for guest. Is that still
the number we're looking at?
Yeah. Hearing that, I'd be in favor of approving the fixed routes only on KCATA, and the guest route, we would do that under what we budgeted in the next, I guess, be the current fiscal budget now that we're into October. But
So that is the plan outlined here. That's the one without flex, and then going with guest for the flexible.
the
right?
594 here
Yep.
plus
Yep.
120 for guests thereabouts. We'd be under what we budgeted for
So to
services.
Yeah, so to highlight what Councilmember Fitzgerald is talking about, for those that can't see it, and I don't think it's up on the screen, that is after local operating contribution, after assistance from state and federal. We still don't know what fares are going to do yet. That number is not baked into this, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That leaves almost $600,000, $594,000 to run the 201 and the 238 through the 4.5 square miles of North Kansas City. That's $600,000. I still don't know our ridership count, but it still feels very, very expensive for fixed route service. So we had a few. When our meeting, we had a few items that I haven't gotten follow-up answers on. So exploring, I'll lay them out there and we can talk about all of them. So exploring supplemental funding, including possible sponsorship opportunities or businesses kicking in whose employees utilize the service. Streamlining the 238 route was another topic of conversation because it spends a lot of time running around the north side of the hospital. If there was an efficiency there to save time, because time is a major factor in the cost of the 238. And then digging up and resurrecting the potential tri-county transit docks from the turn of the century, in 2007 or 8, I think it was, maybe 9, where there was a proposal for a tri-county transit authority that would supplement transit options. Have any of those come to fruition?
I can answer all of those. Which one would you like me to start with?
Let's go from the supplemental funding.
All right. So I spoke with Tyler, who was in that meeting with you, and Deb Herman, one of our board members representing Clay County. We are very interested in having those conversations with businesses in Kansas City, including North Kansas City Hospital, the Business Association. We would really appreciate your guys' assistance on helping establish those meetings, making those connections. But we're very interested in having those discussions to try and have those kind of public-private partnerships moving into 2026. But again, we would really appreciate your guys' assistance.
Happy to facilitate a warm handoff. We can reach out to a number of those, being Harrah's, the casino. We can do the hospital. We can talk to major employers in town, Atlas Tube, a number of them who have large populations of folks coming in from Kansas City to work at their places of business. I think would be a great way to supplement some of this. Streamline the 238.
So we've identified a way to do that. It would involve running 238 instead of around North Kansas City Hospital through what essentially is a fire lane on the south side of the hospital. There's two issues with that. One, we would no longer serve the ER room, the emergency room, which typically hospitals, that's important to them for us to serve that directly. The other thing is the fact, because it's a fire lane, we need permission to operate there, either from the hospital or potentially also from the city of North Kansas City. So we would need to confirm that. So you could do that, but again, you lose the access to the emergency room, and then you also could not go to the hospital at all, but then the issue is with geography, you get a really big hill that people would have to walk up to the hospital.
Yeah, so the fire lane piece is on the front of the parking structure on the south edge of the hospital, which at that point you're on Hospital Hill at least. I understand the access, like direct access to the ER could be a potential struggle, but you're getting people 90% of the way there. And I don't know what that would look like as a route cost savings, because it does take a significant amount of time for the 238 to run around the hospital and stop at however many places it does, however many times a day. And just to see, like, if we could see what that route would look like, maybe just imagine that we get all the approvals we need. So we know what cost savings, is it $1,000? Is it $100,000? Like, I don't know annually what that would look like.
Yeah, I'll have our planning and station department kind of map out that potential, and then have our finance start to run that through, see what the reduction in hours and miles is when you take out that loop there.
Okay, very good. And then the transit documents at the county level. So I believe there's some interest in Clay County. I haven't had specific conversations with the commissioners, but polling is positive for support, as Dylan mentioned. Do we know anything about finding those documents?
Yes, we have located those physical documents.
Nice.
They were given to Frank's office. He's reviewing them. Unfortunately, Frank's assistant was out today for a private thing, and then I was not able to reach Frank. So I'm going to scan those just as soon as I can and send them off your way.
Excellent. We'll pass them up to the schmuckety-mucks up at the county, and we'll see where they land. Any other questions from the council at this point? No? All right. Staff, any further questions? Anything we need to clarify from that meeting?
Council, if I may.
Sure, please.
Don Bolin. One of the things I want you to consider is with the Flex, and the whole purpose and the reason why North Kansas City began the Flex service in the first place.
Can you move the mic?
I would, absolutely.
Just for
Sometimes
the people
I end
watching.
up overpowering
there
the
you
mic.
go, yeah.
So one of the things that, and I just want you to consider, and this is not a pro-KCATA or pro-guest service comment. North Kansas City has a unique footprint. Your fixed route transit's on your main thoroughfares. You have a large residential area that serves back to the Macon Park. We all know this. I'm not telling you anything new. One of the things I need you to consider and just remember is no matter who your service provider is, you're serving a large population of senior and ADA passengers. Just consider that as part of the process. So my 2 cents, just wanted to help out.
Appreciate that. Do we have any, have we gotten data on ridership from Northtown specifically? Do we have that?
So is there a specific kind of ridership you're looking for?
I mean, how many, what I'm trying to grapple with is we get the overall folks using transit. That number gets passed around quite a bit, but how many of those are originating in Kansas City that are not, like, we're trying to serve the residents here.
Right.
That's where we're spending the dollars. But I don't know how many actual residents of North Kansas City are utilizing the services.
So, well, it's difficult to track specific people.
Right.
I actually did pull some stop-specific data for the 201 and 238. to kind of look at where we think people are coming and going. And so, pull up my information. So for the 201, your three biggest stops are 10th and Burlington, which makes sense.
Yep.
Armour and Burlington, which also makes sense. But also, what I was a little surprised by, now that I think about it, and Don's explained it to me, 26th and Burlington is your not so distant third stop along those. At 10th and Burlington, most people are alighting on the northbound stop and boarding on the southbound stop. So to me, that indicates those are people coming in for work in North Kansas City. They're coming from south of the river, coming into work. Time of day, it's really all over the place on when people are using it. So it's just, morning, late afternoon, and night shifts. Probably people moving in for third shifts using those services. Armour Burlington, it's a really mixed bag. People are using it all day. It's kind of hard to pinpoint a peak time for that stop. Kind of same with 26th and Burlington. More people board going south at 26th and then alight going north. Given that's proximity to some of the neighborhoods there, I think there's potential that's being used by North Kansas City residents to either go to work downtown or to access shopping along that corridor. On the 238, I expect the North Kansas City Hospital to be the biggest stop. It's actually not. The biggest stop is at Armour and Ozark. So people are using that stop quite frequently and at mixed times during the day. That one, I really do believe is being used by North Kansas City residents. If I had to look at these stops and look at these routes, my assumption is that the 201 largely feeds your business districts and feeds those areas, and then your 238 feeds your hospital, feeds your residents getting to where they need to go, and also service workers accessing the fast food places east of the interstate, the barn restaurant district by Swift and Armour.
The other piece that I'm going to be very curious is when we return fares, the stop at Ozark and Swift, or Ozark and Armour.
Ozark and Armour.
Yeah. I'm certain there are a number of residents using that, but I'm going to guess a large chunk also comes from the America Inn who are utilizing that to move through the metro as fares are non-existent right now. And I saw some nods from police and fire on that could be the situation. We'll see as fares return, like what the boardings and alighting start to look like. It is tough to suss out because night shift. I was thinking, well, we just track the morning boardings and we'll know who's. No, that doesn't work because people are working all night. Councilmember McGrone.
I just want to make a comment that while I appreciate that we're trying to focus on residents, I think that it's important to focus on our business community that relies on bus service to get their employees in and out of North Kansas City. Without those businesses having that bus service, then those businesses might choose not to be here, which means then we don't have those people coming in and patronizing our businesses and maybe wanting to move here. And so I think it's very important that we be resident focused, but we also have, we're a 5,500 person town, we like to say at night, but we're, 30,000 or 20,000 during the day. And those, if we're going to say that that's our population, then we need to focus on that population too.
That's a fair point.
It's also worth noting that Flex does 1,000 trips a month, and the number one spot on that is North Kansas City Hospital.
Yep. Further thoughts or questions? Councilmember Alvarez.
Yeah. I think the last time you weren't sure when maybe the fair would be reinstated. Do you have a closer idea yet? Or
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
So we've had an RFI out there right now with companies reaching out to us for the fair equipment and software. If the RFP isn't out yet, I think it's going to come out in the next week or so. We're going to move very quickly on that with the goal of getting a contract approved with a fair vendor at our December board meeting. And then our goal is very strongly to have a form of fair validation in place before the World Cup.
So summer-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to work on getting the equipment back in because, right?
Yeah, you can jump
Yeah,
in.
do you mind if I jump in on that one? And I'm going to push this mic further away so I don't overpower
You're
everybody
good.
with it. Okay, thank you. So the fair thing is a great question, and we want to have those same answers as you. We have a lot of regulatory kind of hoops that we have to jump through as well, since we're using public and private money to do it. So part of the process is with that RFI, and just so everyone's information, a request for information is what an RFI is, and then we have a request for purchase. So a couple of things we're navigating through as we're trying to go through those regulatory hurdles. We're hoping for spring is our earliest goal, at the latest by the time we will have a fare system in place by the time World Cup arrives. A whole lot of mumbo jumbo stuff, but I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah, appreciate that. My understanding is the original goal for fair return was April, but it sounds like that's getting pushed a little bit as things.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
Just a little.
anything public domain gets pushed. It happens. And it'll be good to know when we know what the impact of those fares could be and what, if any, the cost could come down once the fares start pouring back into the network. Further questions at this point? I want to reiterate our goal is to continue to provide both methods of transit, fixed and flex route. Just looking for those ways to try to bring the cost down so that we can keep this sustainable and reasonable for our residents and businesses to continue operating. So thank you for your work on this.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you. Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Just thinking about guest again, I've been leaning towards guest over the flex route based on cost. Sounds like it'd be significantly cheaper, but that being said, as pointed out, there's 1,000 rides a month. What's that, 30-some trips a day on average? That is a pretty high demand. Do we have a representative with guest we could, correspond with? Or I'm just kind of thinking for levels of service, and I don't know as much about what they can provide. I do know what the new flex ride, I'm picturing Iris 2.0, and
right.
hoping to avoid that kind of scenario if we were to consider a switch.
And that's always the worry. So we've had a cursory meeting with the reps from Guest over lunch, and the feedback from the communities that have implemented have been good. It's very early still. Gladstone's been at it about a month and a half. Liberty's had a couple weeks. But, it seems like they're doing a good job. I also share that concern that it could end up being overpromise or overly optimistic. But yeah, they have a local rep on the ground here that could come and talk to us about what they're seeing now, how they're handling service in other communities, and what that might look like here.
It'd be good learning some more as we compare the options.
Next agenda.
Say, if I could add,
Sure.
speaking of Iris, and not in any way to fearmonger.
Sure.
If you remember with Iris, you moved to Iris and then you moved back to Flex. We were able to do that because we still had Flex zones operating.
Yep.
Our Flex service operates on the Spare software, and you guys are currently the last Flex zone in the region. So if you guys were to move away from Flex, and then later on decide you wanted that, it would take us some time to reestablish that system. Just
Okay.
not fear-mongering in any way, just want to make you aware of that.
Threat received. No, I kid. That's a fair thing to point out. Appreciate it.
There are hedges that could be made. Reduction in your flex service could also, instead of having the full boat or full complement of service that you currently have today, serving the residents of North Kansas City, you could reduce your service that forces us to maintain flex. It's not something that's been floated out there. It's not something that's been talked about.
Reduce the service, like hours of the flex bus.
Correct.
We explored that, 2 years ago and got yelled at quite a bit, and then the cost only went down just a little bit because still standing that service up is expensive.
It is. It is. So just want to put other options out there on the
Appreciate
table.
that. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Look forward to talking more about this. You got stuff, Mike?
Just to make sure I've got the direction right, we'll get someone from Guest here at the next meeting, and until then, kind of hold off on pursuing any certain directions.
No, we have till
as far
year
as
end.
fixed routes, or
Yeah, we have till year end with this current contract. Looking to get something signed early December. So we got a couple more meetings to put our ducks in a row. Don't want to be headed into the new year with a 1-month contract like we've done in too many years in the past. So circling that first meeting in December to have something signed. And of course, we got the board with the KCATA has to meet and do their sausage making as well. So if we got a pitch, we can get it to them and get it signed second meeting in December if we have to.
all right, perfect.
Councilmember Saper.
When is your December board meeting?
It's earlier. It's on the third Wednesday.
Yes,
Mike,
yes.
apologies. Usually they're on the fourth Wednesdays. I believe because of the holiday, it moves up to the third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday.
Which actually means we would have the Finance Committee, which it runs through first, on the second Wednesday, or second Monday.
So the second Monday really is.
Realistically, the first Wednesday of the month is when I have to turn things in for the second Monday for the actual board meeting on the third Wednesday. Sorry, that's a convoluted way to explain
Perfect.
that.
Right, so your board meeting is the day after our last council meeting of the year. Just nothing can be easy. Yeah, maybe we call a special Christmas meeting to sign the stuff. Ho, ho, ho. We'll figure it out, but
Okay.
stuff to keep an eye on as we go forward. Anything else for our friends from the KCATA? Again, thank you for coming and talking with us and answering questions, and we'll get some of this back and forth on the questions I had moving along.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And one last thing, I'm not going to volunteer Bryce to do this, but you guys have a lot of town halls and a lot of community engagement meetings, like your City of the State, or State of the City.
Yep.
Thank you. Meeting. I will happily volunteer myself to come and stand before the citizens of the city and speak on behalf of whatever you need, or just be a part of the town hall. If you have a visceral response, put me out there.
Yeah, you teed me up nicely. Next week, next Tuesday, the 28th, 6:30 at the Mackin Park Festival Shelter. Come out, wear a jacket. It'll probably be a little chilly. And if you're there, that's wonderful. I can point some questions to you if I don't have the answer for them. So,
Absolutely.
thank you for that.
No problem.
All right. Moving on to item 17.
YMCA membership usage report.
All right, here we go. So this is something that we kicked from last time because I had not been able to crunch the data. So Mike very kindly did that. He mocked up in the memo people who have been to the YMCA fewer than 8 times over the 6-month time frame that we had. So 0 to 7.
Fewer than 8 times per month on average.
Fewer than
so
8.
It'd be 2 times a week.
2 times
on average.
I got you. Okay, so this the sheet we have here on the dais is fewer than.
Well, it's so I added in the top 2 table, top left, is what was in the memo. The long tables, average uses per month, I actually broke them out. How many were zeros?
Okay.
1 all the way to 7.
Okay.
And then the cost associated with each of that.
All right, so if we're looking down this one, unfortunately we don't have the benefit of showing it on the screen, but I'll read it out. So cumulative cost of people who have been 0 times per month over that 6-month time is $8,000. Right. People that average 1 time per month, so that's 6 times in 6 months on average, is $13,000. And it goes up from there to people who went fewer than twice a week, we're at $32,000. I had read this wrong.
No, cumulative.
Yeah, cumulative cost.
Zero through.
Yep. So that's the cumulative cost. So I had read this incorrectly when I didn't see the per month piece. So any thoughts on this from the council on how we might place some common sense restrictions on this program? Do we want to check it semi-annually to see if people have just not been going? Do we want to look at a cap on if they've been fewer than once a week, fewer than once a month? What are the thoughts? Because these are real dollars. Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Maybe it's dangerous going first here, but I'll just throw out my 2 cents at least. But I think obviously here the goal is to encourage our residents to use the North Kansas City Community Center, the Y, and the city is subsidizing half of the cost of the
50%.
memberships. Yeah, for all membership tiers. And, I get stuff happens. Sometimes you can't make it. Sometimes the weather's nice, so you may not be in the gym as much type of thing. But also have to balance that with being responsible with public finances for paying something that's not getting used at all. My first thought would maybe be if there's no visits on the membership for 2 months, from 2-month period, at that point, cut it off. I'm viewing it as there's not really a penalty for, if you sign up for the city program, you're not signing a contract or anything, so there's no penalty for it ending. It would cut it off after those 2 months, and you could go back and sign up the next time you feel like using the Y, but would obviously cut down on just the city paying for something that's not getting used for months on end.
So no visits over a 2-month span?
Yeah, that'd be my suggestion. You maybe go higher, but that would, I feel like, leave some leeway for, stuff happens, you don't make it for whatever reason.
It's reasonable. The YMCA has pushed back on pulling reports more frequently. So So I don't know if we want to go quarterly, which would be 3 months. And if they haven't visited at all in 3 months, that's a quarterly report. Scrub the membership, but if they come back, they can sign back up and get right back on the horse. Councilmember Groen.
So are we saying that if they haven't gone at all in 3 months, are we going to put any kind of, and I agree with that, I think that's great. I think if they go one time in 3 months, they're okay? If they go 2 times, are they okay? If they go 3 times, are
Are
they
we doing
okay?
like an average of a 1 per month?
1 per month, so 3 times in a quarter?
3 times in
Three
a
times
quarter.
in a quarter. I'd be good with that. And then and then we just make the language clear when they go to get this benefit that you need to use this at least 3 times in the next 3 months or this quarter. And then, excuse me. And then if you don't, it just gets canceled, but then you can sign right back up again. It's not it's probably 5 minutes of their time.
And this will need to go through YMCA to make sure that switching and changing and all that is not overly cumbersome, but I think we can get through that. Further thoughts? Yeah, go ahead.
I guess we'd have to be careful about the timing of it too, because when those quarters end, that we're not catching somebody who just signed up this month, and this is the end of the quarter, and they've only gone 1 time because they just signed up, but they didn't go the previous 2 months. So
We could
figuring out the mechanism for that.
scrub, make sure they have at least 3 months of data.
Yeah.
For that account. Yes, sir.
I was able to take their start date, and I mean, even the average in here takes that into account. So, right, if they haven't been a member for 3 months, then.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go on calendar quarters, first quarter, second, third, or fourth, we could start that. If they're not an existing member when the count starts, they're free that time. Like they skip through, but the next time over. The other part that questions have come up in the community is, does this check if they visit a Y elsewhere? So like if somebody's traveling for business, they go a handful of times. If they get the notification that says your membership is not going to be renewed due to non-use, like they could just prove in some way that they've been elsewhere. Again, I don't want to overlay too many rules, but we're also spending a lot of money for people to not go. We're also allowing them to spend a lot of their own money to not go, which is not ideal for those people. Thoughts? Okay, I think if you haven't been at least once a month in a quarter,
I think that's very generous.
Do we know if they've been, do we know if this data includes otherwise?
I don't believe it does. I believe it's just
Because
our community
that's
center.
a little problematic, because when I was a member of the Y, and I'm not right now, we used to go to the Parkville Y all the time because they offered the classes that I wanted, and ours didn't. So there were months and months where I never used our Y, but I would go to the Parkville Y 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm not really sure. Are we subsidizing the use of the North Kansas City YMCA, or are we subsidizing a YMCA membership?
yeah, so it's they have the always welcome at YMCA deal where like if you have a membership to any Y, you're welcome anywhere. And if if people are using that, great. Like if our residents or our employees are using that to be more healthy, excellent. Like that's money well spent, in my view. But we need to be able to figure out a way that somebody can demonstrate they went to the Parkville Y if that's not being tracked. And I don't know if it's them as they sign up to get the 50% off and save however much a month. Like, hey, if you're going to other Ys, I don't know, let us know. Prove that to us in some way.
And I apologize. I'll double check that with the Y, whether or not it's counting. I know in the past there was discussion of encouraging use of the Y at our community center. So that might be where it's coming from.
Yeah, ideally they use this one. I mean, it's a beautiful facility. We're maintaining it super well, and now they got new equipment going in. The chillers the boilers are all replaced. Very good. Just Councilmember Saber.
Yeah, the Y has expressed before that they really don't have a way of tracking usage outside.
Yeah, that's what
facility.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Them saying, and it's. I don't think it's overly burdensome for them to pull a quarterly report from their facility. It's just, are we scrubbing people that are using other ones? And I'd like to avoid that. We'll find a way to figure that out. Yeah. Councilmember Alvarez.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be that hard to show that you went to a different YMCA, so you know, maybe you go to that one and get some statement from them or something that you went, so I think that'd be.
I would almost suggest we just take their word for it. If
Yeah,
they tell us when
yeah.
they went, okay.
Somebody making the effort to come in and tell us they went to,
Right,
that's fine.
right.
Honestly, it's
We don't
fine.
need affidavits or
Doctor's
Document.
notes. Yeah, I mean, if somebody's making that effort, go ahead. It's the ones that just truly aren't showing up that we need to stop paying for. Right? Did we get directive on that?
Yeah, just to be clear, when you say 3 times per quarter, you mean once per month or just an average?
3 times
over
in a
that?
quarter. Yeah.
Okay, 3 times in a quarter.
Three plus visits.
300 or
The wise
whatever
smart,
combination.
they'll do a program where they're like, come this week 3 times
Right, yeah.
as soon as you sign up.
Don't miss it.
Yeah.
Into quarter special.
I'll get information from the Y, and then also well, we'll look at what's in place already, and then come back with any amendments that might need to be made.
Sure.
To the agreement. But all right.
All right. Thanks. Easy enough. All right, moving on to item 18.
Consideration of an ordinance approving the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City 2026 renewal. Bill number 7942, ordinance number 9739.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's that time of year again, open enrollment. Blue Cross Blue Shield's here, and we also have somebody from Lockton. We've had several meetings, probably 3 meetings up to this point. We are staying with Blue KC for 2026. This is offered to our employees and our dependents, runs from January 1st to December 31st. There is no plan design change. We're sticking with the 6 plans that we offered last year. We did have a 3.6 increase over premiums. We started out at 7.7, I believe. We got it down to 3.6. We did structure our plan design change a little bit differently for 2026. We are offering, to be competitive with local municipalities, a 0 HSA plan for employee only. So we've kind of structured that plan design a little bit changed. We typically did a 70-30 split, so we've kind of gone away from that. We're shifting some of the cost to the higher PPO plan where we have a lot of our high-cost claimants, and then we shifted it so it wasn't impactful to too many employees. If you have any questions regarding the renewal, I can answer them, or Blue or Lockton can.
Do we have any questions on this one? Yeah, standing in front of us. I appreciate the work that's been done on this to find some efficiencies, to identify a common sense way to structure it. I know a lot of work's gone into this, and Mike's called me no less than a dozen times to run, hey, let me bounce this off of you. So thank you for the work you put in, and you as well. Anything from the council? Go ahead.
I just want to say quickly, I work for a state institution, and this is pretty much identical, I mean, in line with what we do, so our costs and our employers' costs, so I think it's not cheap, but it's reasonable.
Do we have a motion?
Move. Oh,
Second.
first reading.
With first reading, was that what that was?
First reading.
Yep, and then that was somebody second the first reading? Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Here we go. An ordinance adopting and approving certain contract documents by and between the City of North Kansas City, Missouri, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City, which include but are not limited to the following. A, addendum to group contract maximum refund account. B, COBRA rate sheet. And C, benefit and rate confirmation, which includes the following plans: Blue Select Plus EPO, Spira Care Plan, Blue Select Plus Personal Blue PPO HRA Plan, Blue Select Plus PPO Plan, Preferred Care Blue PPO Plan, Preferred Care Blue Personal Blue PPO Plan, and Preferred Care Blue Blue Saver PPO Plan, effective January 1st, 2026, regarding the medical insurance benefits for the employees of the City of North Kansas City, Missouri.
I move that bill number 7942 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9739.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgerald? Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Click?
Yes.
Councilmember Saper?
Yes.
Read it again.
An ordinance adopting and approving certain contract documents by and between the city of North Kansas City, Missouri, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City, which include but are not limited to the following. A, addendum to group contract maximum refund account. B, COBRA rate sheet. I can't say that. And C, benefit and rate confirmation, which includes the following plans. Blue Select plus EPO Spira Care Plan. Blue Select plus Personal Blue PPO HRA Plan. Blue Select plus PPO Plan. Preferred Care Blue PPO Plan. Preferred Care Blue Personal Blue PPO Plan. And Preferred Care Blue Blue Saver PPO Plan. Effective January 1st, 2026, regarding medical insurance benefits for the employees of the city of North Kansas City, Missouri.
All right. Item 19.
Consideration of an ordinance approving the Delta Dental and Delta Vision Employee Benefits Rates 2026 renewal. Bill number 7943, ordinance number 9740.
Along the same line, we marketed these benefits this year. Our contract was up for them. We marketed with different providers. We stayed with Delta Dental and Delta Vision, continuation of coverage. We did see a price increase for Delta Dental. We did see a rate increase for Delta Vision. But we're pretty pleased with the plans that they offer.
So 19.4% increase on the dental side.
I had a lot of usage.
My goodness.
Yeah. And they have not had rate increases in 3 years. So.
All right. So we'll spread that out a little bit. Softens the blow. Any questions or thoughts?
6.5%.
Do we have a motion?
First reading.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes.
An ordinance adopting and approving 2026 renewal rates related to the City of North Kansas City's enrollment agreement with Delta Dental of Missouri and Delta Vision for dental and vision coverage on behalf of the city's employees and their dependents, and authorizing implementation of the renewals, appropriating funds, and establishing an effective date.
I move that Bill number 7943 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9740.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Click?
Yes.
Councilmember Saper?
Yes.
An ordinance adopting and approving 2026 renewal rates related to the City of North Kansas City's enrollment agreement with Delta Dental of Missouri and Delta Vision for dental and vision coverage on behalf of the city's employees and their dependents, and authorizing implementation of the renewals, appropriating funds, and establishing an effective date.
All right. Item 20.
Consideration of an ordinance approving accounts due and payable by the city through October 17th, 2025. Bill number 7944, ordinance number 9741.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
First reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through October 17th, 2025.
I move that Bill number 7944 be placed on second and final reading and pass as ordinance number 9741.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Click?
Yes.
Councilmember Saper?
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through October 17th, 2025.
Beautiful. Staff comments.
All right, I'm going to start with myself. I know Chief Freeman and Kim also have some comments, but in the packet tonight, you'll see it's the first time the city administrator approvals. Basically, this is per the enacted code 2 meetings ago. When there's a change order, I have 15 days to provide written documentation of such to council. So this'll just be something if there is a change order in a project. This one, for this project, Well, if you remember the code, it's 10%, it's the lesser of 10% of the contract price or $50,000. This was a $43,000 change order. The other change orders you approved tonight pushed it over 50, and that's a cumulative thing. So this will be it. This is it for me on this project. If there are any others, we'll put it in here and make sure you see them every time. But that's what this is. It's new. But we figure this is the best way to let you know within 15 days. If we do have a 3-week gap, as occasionally we do, and we'll get it out to you. But that's what this is. I'm going to hand off. Well, it is department report night, isn't it? So, Kim.
And on that one, I do want to say, I want to commend Mike for his process on this. You communicated this really well, talking through all of it. You reached out to me, and I know you were agonizing over being the first one. Like, can I do it? Should I do it? And yeah, this is the process we spelled out, and you did a great job of digging into it and having the details and putting it in the memo. So thank you for that. Appreciate what you did.
I can assure you I'm anti-change order, and they know it. I mean, but this was the first. Yes, and Crystal reminded me that also on the dais tonight, you already approved it in consent, but was the change order where it's a whole new change order where you'll see the project manager, the engineer, and then my approval if it comes to council. And we wanted to, in the packet, we didn't have our signatures on there yet, but that's why we put it up there so you could verify that we do recommend. So we're trying to tighten some things up and give you more. You can see that we've gone through it and all that. Yep. But go ahead, Kim, with your comments, and then we'll hand it off to the crew.
I appreciate the transparency and order that's come through from this process. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to bring to attention that there's a letter from Hunt Midwest in your packet. It's actually quite the historic event. Hunt Midwest has fulfilled their development obligation to the city of North Kansas City as part of the Northgate Village. They have put under contract the very last single family and now row home as part of their contract. So this is a long time coming. Northgate Village began in 1996. So we are really only one building away from that entire TIF district being completely built out.
It's wild. And Brenner Holland, who signed the letter, he's been with Hunt Midwest for a long time. Got to know him a little bit through HOA stuff. And Brenner, if you're watching, you're certainly not, nor should you be probably. Thank you for all your work on this. Really appreciate that.
All right, so I'm first up tonight. Good evening again. I'm going to roll my staff comment into my report, just to ease of not having to talk again. So key highlights for us, Courtney Riley was sworn in as police officer. She came back to us after a little hiatus. Happy to have her back. As you can see, at the time of this writing, we had 3 vacancies for the position of police officer and 1 for dispatcher. Spoiler alert for next month's report, we have filled another police officer position, cadet, and we have filled the dispatcher position, and we have an offer out for another police officer position, which will be a lateral transfer. So all those come through. That will just leave us with 1 police officer vacancy at the end of this month, potentially. But as we all know, we have 2 retirements in January, so we'll be starting all over again. As far as upcoming events, what you all should have got, and I hope you did, and just if not, I want to reiterate the Public Safety Memorial dedication is going to take place next Tuesday, October 28th at 6 o'clock. Should be relatively short. We anticipate it being no more than 20-25 minutes long, just in time to get the mayor and anybody that wants to go with them over to the park for the town hall, the open forum town hall, open air forum town hall. And then for activity-wise, again, kind of broken record, looking at the trespassings, 96 this month. Look back at the report that we just produced for the state of the city. In the time frame that we look at for that report, 824 trespassing calls in that calendar year, in that rolling calendar year. I'm going to say it out loud to everybody here that some of you I've said to individually. Zero Fare Bus is a major driver and the amount of criminal activity that we have to deal with. It's a major driver in the amount of medical calls that the fire department has to deal with. So when you sit up there and you work diligently to find the best rates as far as transit goes, zero fare is a problem for us. It has been a problem for us. We're happy it's coming back. We hope it doesn't get delayed any longer. But there's an indirect cost in services besides what you're paying for the service. So just keep that in mind also. That's all I have, unless you have any questions for my report.
So I want to start my report, but I want to echo Kevin's thoughts on the KCA on the bus service. He's completely correct in that it does create a secondary cost to your services and what the services that we provide. So. Just covering some of the things real quick. One of the big things that they do in September is we do a boot block for the MDA on Labor Day weekend. This year they collected a little over $3,600, and they were the #1 department and in the city, in the metro area, with less than 100 people on their department. So I want to thank the people, that, the employees of the businesses that work here in town, the citizens. Most of that was, probably 90% of that was collected on Friday evening when they were on their way home from work. So appreciate everything they give during that time. We had a fairly large turnout for a retiree breakfast that we had on September 20th. We had a lot of our old retirees have come back, and we serve them breakfast, and we meet with them, and we have a good Saturday morning with them. And then the last thing is that it is October's, this is not for that, but October's Fire Prevention Month. One of the things we want to, there's some basic fire safety here, but check your smoke alarms, change your batteries, make sure that everything's working, and design a home escape plan with your family. Don't just talk about it, do it. And the last thing is that for this year, lithium-ion batteries. Please make sure that when you're replacing your lithium-ion batteries, you're buying UL-listed batteries, and they are the correct batteries for your appliance. The biggest drain on the fire service right now, as far as fires go, are people buying non-UL listed or batteries that are not created or built for the appliance that you are putting them in. So make sure that you're buying the right replacement battery. Thank you.
Councilmember Saper. Microphone.
Yes, sir.
Questions on inspections.
Okay.
The last line, can you explain what annual priority 1, 2, 3 buildings means?
So priority 1 are places where people lay their heads.
Okay.
All right. So any hotels, basically hotels, apartment, some of the like the Oxbow apartment complex, some of the apartment complexes that have sprinkler systems in them. We make sure that those are done yearly. And then priority 2 is your larger commercial properties, and they're done about somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 to 24 months apart. Okay. Your priority 1s are done every year, within every 12 months. Some of them are done every 6 months, depending on what the priority is in that. And then in your priority 3, they could be anywhere from about 28 to 36 months. So they could be those are just your small, small commercial properties that are just an office.
Okay.
Like an insurance office or something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Groen.
I just wanted to say the UL approved batteries, in case people don't know, you can look on the back of your device and there's a little sticker and it's got a circle and it says UL in it. It means that it's like electric rated and it's not going to hopefully burn your house down.
Yes.
Look for the sticker.
Also, before we move on to the community development, I want to thank police and fire for both sending groups out to the block parties. We've had a bunch of fun block parties, and each one of them, reps from the police and the fire department have come out, sometimes with the truck for the kids to just absolutely crawl all over, and really cool to see that interaction. So thanks to the departments for doing that.
All right.
community development. I'm just going to mention a couple of things real quick. The first one is thank everyone who attended the open house yesterday at the Y. We had our first open house for the comprehensive safety action plan for the city. As you all know, that was a project that the city partnered up with the Federal Highway Administration. It was an 80-20 cost split over there. It went well. It was a low attendance, so we had a lot of supporters from the bike and pedestrian ad hoc committee, so thank you all. The second one I want to mention is that we are officially having a soft launching of our online permitting. It is right now only for residential over-the-counter ones, meaning there's no plan review involved or in-depth plan reviews involved. So whenever the customer come visit the city hall, we will start guiding customers to use the computer at the kiosk on the second floor. So we're very excited to see this finally got launched. And there's also online payment option as well. So get your credit card ready.
Which specific, can you name some permits just to give examples of what you could pull through the online?
Absolutely. It's all the residential permits for over-counter ones, such as roofing, repairs, and small shed, small items over there. There is a full list of them, about 12 of them, fencing, all of those.
Good. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The report has some updates on different projects we have going on. A couple items of note. We had our source water protection open house here in the council chambers last week, and that went very well. Got a few people to give feedback. It's a really important topic. Still on our website, information on it if you want to visit that. Talks about how we get our water from the aquifer and ways we're looking at trying to protect that. We also had a few construction projects kick off this week. 10th Avenue street improvements, reconstruction between Atlantic and Burlington, and then masonry repairs to the library. So before the end of the month here, you'll start to notice a lot of repairs to the library, 10th Avenue, and then also the police station is looking at some garage in the back here, the Sally Port. There'll be some repairs done to it. Also, 15th Avenue is a stormwater reconstruction project going on down at 15th between Taney and Warren. That's a heck of a project. It's a very large storm sewer pipe. It's been closed for a while due to, in 2019, the Missouri River caused a lot of hydrostatic pressure in the city that destroyed that pipe. So we're rebuilding that. That will lead to a closure of Vernon here over the next 2 weeks that we're looking at. So just want to get that out there, and we're going to be messaging that down there directly to those businesses. Other than that, if there's any other questions, please let me know. Yeah.
Question about trees. Some of the new plantings didn't quite make it for the last couple of years. I understand there was a warranty on those?
We have a year warranty on the trees. We can go back if it's been within a year. If it's been within a couple years, that's a little outside.
Okay.
And we have to go
If
back.
you could review that.
Yeah.
And then they need to be replaced. They need to be replaced at some point.
Absolutely.
It's a matter of who pays for it.
So speaking of, we will be getting into our fall planting here probably in late November, early December. We try to wait till it gets kind of cold. It's better on the tree's health.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening. So we are well underway trying to close out the past fiscal year. We've been hopefully overwhelming the auditors with information over the last couple of weeks. One thing that you have in your mailboxes, I believe Crystal also sent an email about, is a related party questionnaire that's part of the annual audit process. So questions on financial dealings with the city and then overall concerns you may have. You can send those back directly to the auditor or hand them to Crystal and she can get them back. But other than that, revenues have continued to come in pretty well, especially over projections. We have a handful of accruals left that we're waiting on before we can really finish out the year-end process, but we are well ahead of where we've been. So it's been very good.
Thank you. Councilmember
I
Fitzgerald.
was going to ask, was the audit able to start sooner than normal? I feel like we usually don't have these fraud questionnaires until like next, after year end.
Well, we internally, we look at the process and try and see where we can move some stuff up. So since this template doesn't change, year to year, we thought, let's just get those out right at the beginning.
Gotcha.
And
I
get
was
that
just
done.
curious.
Yeah, so we're actually, the auditors haven't really been able to start because they have a lot of October deadlines before they can jump in with us. So we've been doing a lot of the pre-work right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, probably just got through 10:15 then.
Any other questions? All right. Is that all the reports? Very good. Victoria, you don't want to tell us what's going on? All right. Perfect. Okay. Moving on to council member comments, starting with council member Bailey.
I'll try to be brief. I want to thank the 6 public commenters, obviously getting some engagement in the city. It was great to hear numerous different avenues of approach from our city constituents. It's great to hear from them. I always encourage people, come out and talk to us. We appreciate it. We are listening. So we do listen. We appreciate when you come here to talk to us. Also like to thank the 11 members of staff that are here with us 2+ hours into this meeting. 3+ hours after their workday normally would end. So thank you.
Dr. McGrone.
I got nothing today.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
I'll just echo those comments on thanks to everybody that come out and who came out to speak. I know that takes some effort to get out here, but it's appreciated. And if you can't make it, emails and are always good too. Just reach out and let us know what you're thinking.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yeah, pretty much, I think I'll just echo, again, the same thing. It's been covered. Give a special thank you to Dylan Kane that came out. I thought he was very organized in his presentation. I really appreciated that. So, but other than that, yeah, it's pretty much the same comments.
Councilmember Clark.
I'll echo that. Dylan Kane, you are a pure delight. Loved your presentation. I want to reiterate the walk audit I have sent out to about 20 people in my ward for that Sunday, November 9th walk audit, especially for Ward 4. So I'm hoping my whole family can get involved to walk around. I'm all for it. And let's see, SEAC updates, do appreciate that. Love that they met with Clay County Health Department for some guidance. And what was the other piece I have that's very obvious here? Thanks for supporting the screen. The Parks Board is also going to be meeting in the coming months. I think it's more scheduled for like January or February around February for their strategic planning on what projects they'll be moving through. I don't know if anybody on council, there's a few of us that have done that strategic planning. I think it's maybe the 3 of us. That's it. You guys haven't gone through it yet. But they're doing that. That's coming up. And the big thing is for council and the Parks Board members is November 4th. I think we're making it pretty official. November 4th from 4 to 5:30, we'll be doing a walkthrough of the progress at River Forest Park. It's really coming along.
Time and date on that again?
Tuesday, November 4th from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. So it'll be right before our meeting. Yes, we will spend a lot of time together that day. And I appreciate any effort you can make to be there. And yeah, I've told some Ward 4 members as well, residents, to come down. But yeah, it's just a brief sort of walk through the safety of the space, wear some proper footwear. It could still be kind of muddy and clunky around there, but that's it for me.
Councilmember Click.
Reiterate, thank you, staff, specifically fire and police. You came by the block party. The kids, like Jesse said, had so much fun. So many pictures on the back of the fire truck. I'm sure they'll look back on those fondly. Wanted to also say thanks to Zach for coming out and speaking, giving us some kind of specific numbers about the ridership at the hospital. That's really helpful. Yeah, thanks to everybody who came and spoke. I think that's it.
Councilmember Saber.
Nothing that hasn't already been said.
Excellent. Okay, a few things from me. This past week, we did the State of the City address at the fire department. Thank you for hosting and making some delicious chili. Great turnout, but if you couldn't make it, there is a video on YouTube. Check that out to learn all the things that are going on in our city. Parks Department going to be doing, is it Trunk or Treat on the 25th? 1 to 3. Yeah, ask me how I know. My kids are very excited about that. Block party has been bumping along. We've had some great turnout. Erie Street just absolutely crushed it. There had to have been 130 1,000 kids. I don't know. They were all over the place. It was a beautiful day in the fall, just kids running everywhere, and it felt like community. It was just wonderful. And again, to have council members come out, police and fire, really neat. School had their 100th homecoming this past week. Parade was fun. A lot of festivities, and they absolutely, I'm sorry, whoever they played, I don't remember, but they beat the snot out of them, 49-14. A lot of school spirit. It was really fun to be out there. On a less fun note, it seems that the SNAP benefits in Missouri will be sunsetting or unable to be delivered in November. So if you are struggling with food, Northland Assistance, the YMCA has some opportunities. Seek out those community resources and just hope that the government figures it out and is able to reopen without too much extra fanfare. And then the piece that was splashy over the past week is the statement about the Royals. We're going to be holding a town hall, so if you have thoughts, feelings, or ideas, questions about that or other topics in North Kansas City, next week, Tuesday, 6:30 at Mackin Park Festival Shelter. We'll kick that off at 6:30, or as time allows after the Public Service Memorial. We're not going to rush through that because it's very important. But on the Royals, the one thing that got really spotlighted by every news outlet that picked up was the word substantial. And I want to kind of set the record straight, is that the discussions we've had with the team to date have been very high level. The frameworks, very broad numbers, nothing of real specific, anything really specific. So I'm hoping to have more substantial comments in the coming weeks with all parties at the table. And this is really a chance for the city to understand and pull back the curtain on what's on offer and requests from all parties involved. So that's what we'll be doing. We're going to be communicating our priorities, as I said in my statement, and what you bring to us at council meetings and at open town halls. Let us know what you think, and we're going to bring that information to the team. So that's all I have to say about that. And let's move on to item 24.
Consideration of a request to hold and recess into an executive session as requested by the city administrator to be held on this date on real estate matters pursuant to Missouri Revised Statute, Section 610-0212. Real estate matter, real estate matter.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Click?
Yes.
Councilmember Saper?
Yes.
At this time, the live stream and Channel 2 will shut off. There will be no further votes or business this evening. Thank you for watching.